Hey, this is The Fighter, and I'm here now with the Director of Operations for M1 Global, Mr. Evgeni Kogan. Evgeni, how are you today?
I'm very good, thank you.
Now, you guys have been doing a lot of shows in New Jersey over the last year. You've actually run 4 shows up there. So talk us through how the shows have been for you guys.
Well, the Atlantic City shows were part of the selection, and the whole tournament globally has gone really well. We have 15 champions that have come out of it, and now the champions are all fighting each other. So all the regions are fighting each other in M1 Challenge.
So it's kind of a little bit like the IFL strategy, where it's almost team-based, if you will, to a degree.
We've actually gone away from the team thing now. It's one-on-one. We just have these regions. So we now have, for example, December the 10th is Challenge 22, which is in Moscow in Russia. We have at welterweight, the US champion from selection, Tom Gilkio, fighting the Russian welterweight champion, Shamil Zavorov, and there are a couple of other title matches. There are other matches, so we're now starting to take the US guys, bring them to Russia. We will later on take the Russian guys, bring them to the US, and so we've taken the cream of the crop, and everyone's fighting each other. And by all accounts, the last event was the best event we ever did. So it's obviously working.
You mentioned M1 Challenge 22, which is going to be Tom versus Emil, and that fight was originally scheduled to happen in New Jersey and has now moved to Russia. What was the reasoning behind that?
For us, MMA in Russia is quite connected with politics. Obviously, Putin is friends and knows Fedor. He's been to quite a few of the events. And about 2 months ago, in the preparation for this event, we were asked by people in the Russian government to have an event, not necessarily a challenge, but just an event in Moscow in December. And because we already had an event planned, we just decided to move the AC event to Moscow.
So we haven't had any title fights in America. Are we going to have title fights in America, or are they all going to be held in Russia?
We are now very close to finalizing a deal extension for Fedor with Showtime and Strikeforce. Part of that deal are 4 M1 Challenge events on Showtime in the US. So if that deal gets done, then we have 4 M1 Challenge events in 2011 on Showtime in the US, where there will be title matches, obviously, throughout the whole year.
Now, you mentioned Fedor, of course, who M1 works with obviously a lot, for obvious reasons. Now, Fedor just lost a free server to him not too long ago, back in the summer. What's the next step for Fedor?
Well, since basically that loss, we've been renegotiating the deal, or trying to get an extension done. Now that it's looking likely that the extension will get done, and we've tried as hard as we possibly could to make it happen. It's realistic that Fedor will come back early next year, and then there will be a second Fedor fight in the new extension, probably in the middle months of next year. But early next year will be the comeback fight.
Now, a lot of MMA fans have given M1 Global a lot of flack about Fedor's contract, specifically him not being able to fight in the UFC because of co-promotion stuff. Will we ever see Fedor in the UFC, and what essentially is holding him back? Is it more than just the co-promotion, or are there other issues at play?
In terms of, will we see Fedor outside of the current partners, Showtime and Strikeforce, that we work with? The only thing I have to say is we're happy with the relationship. We've both parties have tried very, very hard to make a continuation of the deal happen, to make sure that we don't let the current contract play out with just one more fight, but we extend it and go further. So we actually have a good relationship with with Showtime and Strikeforce, and we don't feel the need to look at other options at this point. In the past, I think there were a number of, and obviously there were a lot of rumors, a lot of misinformation flying around about why he wouldn't have gone to this organization or that organization, or what was stopping it. And I think now, it's all water under the bridge pretty much. It's a while ago. It's unlikely to come up again as an issue. So what happened. Well, it is what it is, and now we're looking forward to the future. And for us, with Fedor, and also for M1, obviously the future is M1 on Showtime. Is Fedor fights in Showtime and on pay-per-view with Showtime and CBS, fighting in a co-promoted Strikeforce and M1 Global fight event. So that's what we were trying to get done, and that's hopefully what is almost done, and we're excited about going forward with the current partners.
And I know one of the big problems that a lot of fans have with M1 is the whole co-promotion idea. And with the American shows too, there's still a little bit of a negative stigma with M1. So I've been to all the American shows, they've been pretty great. Not shilling here, but it's true, they've been really fun to be at. So what would you tell fans to kind of get them to come see the American shows?
Well, I think most people still think of M1 as a management company for Fedor, and I don't think that many people know that we're actually promoting shows, that we're putting on other fighters, that we have anything else going on except for our relationship with Fedor and with the organizations that we've worked with in the US. But the only thing I have to say is have a look at one of the shows. Everything that we're currently doing is live on the internet on m1global.com. 10th of December, I think the Eastern Standard Time is about midday or 12:30. And that it's on. Have a look at the shows. Have a look, see for yourself, and go from there. But I think television is obviously the most important thing. If we get onto Showtime, I think that will probably happen. People will see us, and things will fall in their right places, and people will understand that M1 is not just a management company for Fedor. We actually promote fights, and good fights at that. So,
now, how do the Russian fighters compare to a lot of the American fighters?
Russia produces, and Russia is a huge country, right? The population isn't as big as in the US, but it's a huge country. There are many different nationalities, and Russia is increasingly starting to produce more and more people who are very, very good at mixed martial arts, because they're good at wrestling, because it's traditionally what their people have always done, from the Caucasus, from Dagestan and the south of Russia. And those guys are increasingly, instead of going into freestyle, into Greco-Roman, they're going into MMA straight away. So the potential, I think, in Russia is huge. In terms of the how good they are currently, I think Russian athletes, on the whole, are missing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu quite a lot. I think that there is still a little bit of stigma attached to weight cutting. So we see fights like the fight that took place on October the 28th with Magomed Shiksabekov, that everyone still thinks is going to be the next big thing, who fought Che Mills and was giving up, all of 10 pounds in the fight, maybe more. So I think there are a lot of things that we need to work on, and we're increasingly trying to work on that. But in the future, lots and lots of potential. In terms of Olympics, in terms of amateur sport, Russians have always done really well at boxing, at wrestling. So that will, with time and with the right skills being taught to them, transition into MMA.
Okay, now we're here at the MMA World Expo, and it's November 12. And November 12, 1993 was a very historic date. That was the first UFC. So I want to ask you, what was your first memory about the UFC, or just mixed martial arts in general?
Well, I don't have specific first memories of the UFC. My first memory of mixed martial arts was, I think, in about 1996 and 97, when I saw Showdog.com for the first time.
Really?
I was in New Zealand then, and I'd never heard of the sport. I'd never, it wasn't shown on television. And I saw someone, I was at university at that point, in like a computer lab, looking at the site, and it had videos of things that I'd never seen before, and I asked them what it was, and it was Showdog.com, and that's basically how I started in the sport.
So it was actually Sherdog that got you hooked?
It was.
So that's a free plug for Sherdog. Oh, look at that. All right, well, either way, you should come to thefighter.com instead, but whatever, that's all this story. But Evgeni, thanks for your time today.
Thank you so much.